ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Beer, known as America's top foundational health coach, and I am so thrilled and delighted to say we are now 6 months in to our Doctor Talk where we focus on one topic about health. And today is going to be an exciting overview from our bevy of experts. As I've done for over 4 decades, certified health coach, holistic nutritionist, these 4 decades focusing on your 6 pillars of human existence: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. During this time that I can say that I am absolutely honored that my clients have lost over 1 million pounds of toxic fat loss, have kept it off with a 5% only recidivism rate, and 3,000 of my clients during the COVID culture have reclaimed, rejuvenated, and restarted their health, because the body is a miracle-making machine. It can and will heal itself. And when it heals itself, then you can go on to energy, more vitality, and longevity. This is what we do with these holistic, not half-listic. These are holistic, getting down to the root cause of how we can create this miracle-making body for you in all things. Just remember that health isn't something you do. It's what you become along life's journey. And what you become, that you make it possible for you to do anything you wish to do. How do you do that? Well, it's possible, as Les Brown says, to open up a whole new future for you. Know that you have access to unlimited power to do whatever you want to do. In this case, it is about health. But you have this unlimited power within yourself. You just have to know it's possible. I'm possible, but you are possible too. So just take our hands, take the hand of Dr. Bill Janshak, take the hand of Dr. Michael Pierce, take the hand of CEO Renee Brown as they talk about our topic today. And that is food sensitivities. Everybody has them. You can't live without food. You might as well know how to get over, under, around, and through with this. Now, a big shout out. As you see, my background is still about the life of excellence. I want to thank Traverse TV, our sponsor, for our 5.5-hour seminar, our webinar, our virtual summit on a life of excellence. If you haven't seen it, go back to the replays and go under my channel, Healthopedia, and you will see every single speaker, all of them today on our Doctor Talk panel were there. You will hear this amazingness of what we have put together. You will hear just what they feel about a life of excellence. And you will hear and see this now, not only on here on Roku, Spotify, Apple TV, on social media, my YouTube channel at Dr. Jody. That's pretty easy to remember, at Dr. Jody, LinkedIn, but also for those of you that are local, because I'm in Central Florida, local CBS affiliate, channel 5511. You will hear all of this. We had our Sunday broadcast, and you will be hearing all of this here. So think about it. I've had a vision. I had a vision of bringing doctors together. It's not that the AMA is better. They're just more organized. We are now a third of the way through our project with Healthopedia, our compilative book that the incomparable Bertie Siegel is going to be leading the charge, promoting the book with his literary agent and his publishing house. There will be 42 doctors, practitioners, famous health providers, and experts just like you that are going to give their experience, strength, and hope. Just like you heard Alicia Williamson sing lead vocals of me background, there is hope. There is hope in all of this. So just be looking for some more add-ons, be looking for All of our speakers that are going to be and authors that are going to be in this book, they will be here with me on either Mindset Monday or Milkshake Moments coming up. So knowing that we're going to be talking about food sensitivities right after our commercial break, we're going to hear from Dr. Bill Janshak. He's known as the hippie doctor in horse country, but guess what? He was way ahead of his time being the hippie doctor. It was cool. And it really goes back to, as I say, weeds, seeds, and beads. That's where it's really at. It's good to be a tree hugger. I say about food that if it comes from a mother, it goes in the mouth of another. That's just me. I've been a vegetarian now for since I was 26. So it's been a long time, 40 some years. That's just what works with me. That's just one tip on food allergies. But Dr. Bill Janshak, if you're within anywhere west of the Mississippi, just go see him, because he just doesn't do the usual chiropractic deal. Oh, no. Dr. Bill gets into you. He finds out what emotions could be triggering this. He is an absolute expert on NLP, and he creates that emotional intelligence in his practice. Dr. Michael Pierce, Parker, Colorado. I remember when Dr. Bill introduced me to Michael, he said, Dr. Michael has forgotten more than I'll ever know. He's a chiropractic physician, but he is a chiropractic functional medical doctor, neurologist, and he triggers in that point of brain wave. We'll hear about his YouTube channel that's very active out there, The Human Condition. But this is really a human condition that goes well into what CEO Renee Brown is going to be sharing today, which she always does from the mental mindset. Renee Brown, Salt Lake City, Utah, president and co-founder of Next Level Recovery, Sober Living Properties, offering an integrative approach in delivering the best quality care for mental health, substance abuse, addiction, dual diagnosis, and sustainable life skills the natural way. And I'll be putting a little bit in about food sensitivities, since I went gluten before who knew what gluten was. So before we bring up Dr. Bill being the leadoff hitter today, I want to just bring you in to confidence tones. Because even with, okay, what should I eat? What should I not eat? All of this, it boils down to confidence. Because when you can get your mental shift correct and your physical shift and the rest of the 4 pillars, you will be more in tune with how you should eat, what I should eat, and what should I eliminate, and what should I go through to the next step of quality of health. And I will be saying this throughout the broadcast, but I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for making our book, which is now the universe's book. See, it started out being the book, then it was my book, then it was our book with Ignite Publishing. And then it became the universe's book when we hit over 1.1 million downloads and our purchases of our book, the universe's book, this last week, hitting international bestseller in 5 countries, US, Canada, Australia, UK, and Brazil. Just about hit every continent. We were number 2 in Japan. And I'm thinking maybe even the penguins are going to read it down in Antarctica. Who knows? Because we do live a life of excellence. We do live in that sandbox, and we do live that peace that will absolutely emote everything. Laying and that brain immersion with our sponsor, Confidence Tones, really, really does imbue that peace after when everything happens in your life when you have confidence. So let's take a look. Let's take a listen to our sponsor, the brain immersion piece that is unlike anything other, and that is with Confidence Tones. And I'm looking for the commercial here. I know it's just jumping around because it wants to see if I have confidence to find it, and I did. Here we go.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better. Here's how it works. Did you know that music is all around you? Even now, you can test it. All you have to do is turn on a radio and adjust or tune it to a particular frequency, and you'll hear music. Now, isn't that interesting? You see, the radio didn't make the music. The radio was simply adjusted to a frequency that was in harmony with the frequency being transmitted through the air. The music was already there. When the radio simply matched its frequency, it manifested the sound in a way that you could perceive it. If you change the station, it matches a different frequency and manifests a different sound. Your brain works in a similar way. Just like a radio, your brain operates on specific frequencies. These frequencies are commonly known as brainwaves, and scientists have been able to observe a correlation between certain brainwave frequencies in our mental states. For example, when we are anxious, our brainwaves have an increased frequency, and when we are relaxed, our brainwaves have a...
So confidence tones. I apologize about the delay. I think it's our frequency. I've been noticing that I'm interrupting a lot of what is happening in the world of everything IT these days, but it is about confidence, and it is about, as we continue moving forward, I wanted to give you this piece, Danya Safar Memorial. We raised over 2/3 for Danya's School of Hope in Pakistan. You're going to hear about this a little bit later, but check this out. Absolutely, without a doubt, just tremendous, the outpouring that I've seen, and tremendous that we are going to build her school here and start, I believe, at the end of the summer. So $25 minimum donation. We're going to get these 3,000 and we're going to get this school built. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just bring up our bevy of wonderfulness. I'm telling you, Dr. Bill,
hello.
Hello, Dr. Michael, Renee. And oh, by the way, because we just have a party, we've got a party coming for our book launch, later on this evening, because it's going to be partylicious. Just tell Dr. Glenn to come, give him the link. We'd love to hear him be part of the party. So we would like to hear from you. I know that you had a client, something about food sensitivities, our wonderful hippie doctor with a real purpose. I think you had something that really triggered this. I said, Jody, I think we've got to do this. So please, the next 7 minutes is yours.
Well, I appreciate that, and I am I call myself the scientific hippie, because if we look at all natural foods, foundations of health, what we eat, what we put in our bodies, how we move, we eliminate sunshine, grounding, and everything else. Way hippie, so we can just throw on our tie-dye and our patchouli and we can just be one with the earth. But for me, I want to see the pathway. I want to see how that works and how that actually manifests in life, because a lot of things look really good on paper, but what does what's the objective science and stuff that we have about that? And we got you experts on that, and I want the audience to take away several different things about food sensitivities. Is a lot of times, and I see a majority in my practice, because I deal with chronic issues, chronic, people will come to me, I'm a chiropractor, and headache, neck pain, back pain, headaches, injuries. And then we get into gut stuff, how the brain's working, movement problems, motivational issues like that. So everything comes down to a stress on the body, which is physical, it's chemical, and emotional. So the physical portion is, how are the mechanics of the body working? And then once you put foods and any substances into your body, it's a chemical reaction, the breakdown, the absorption, how the body is responding to that. And back in the old days, if we wanted to find out what you're sensitive to, we would have to go off and do a big elimination diet and take just about everything out that might be an allergen, and then just kind of reintroduce it and try to remember back where and was there different variables and different supplements, and they worked somewhat. But now if we're getting some specific blood tests in there and we're seeing what your body's actually reacting to, we can specifically say, yeah, there's an issue here. Or with, you mentioned gluten. Sometimes the gluten, if you get like the traditional first test, they say, oh no, you're fine. But now we have more advanced tests that we can break down. Well, if this is a gluten molecule, you may not be allergic to this, but when it starts to break down, you may be allergic to this portion of it, and it causes a reaction. So the science is we can break that down, and we all know that the breakdown of your health and your body, your energy, and everything else is going to be chronic inflammation. So if you have this low-grade subclinical inflammatory response driving these abnormal pathways, it's going to manifest in big issues. So we can find those out. We can zero in on those, kind of clean that up, help the body process normal physiology, and we're good. So that's the clinical. And because we have such great experts on here, I don't want to double down on that. I want to talk about something that a lot of people don't do that, because just from the subconscious portion of what the body's going, a lot of times people will crave the very foods that they're allergic to. And
yes,
they either have an association, it's an emotional thing. So if you think, now, Joe D, when you were in high school and you broke up with your boyfriend and you'd grab your girlfriends and you'd have pajama parties and you'd grab the ice cream and you'd just be eating it because it made you feel better. Well, a lot of times people will do that. They're comfort foods. What's a comfort food? Oh, I can't get rid of my bread. I just love my bread. I do this. Well, a lot of times that's a gluten sensitivity. If you're an ice cream person, you may have a dairy issue. Gluten, dairy, corn, and soy, the top 4 allergens that's going on. And so you crave those things because, you had a bad day at work, and you bring these things on, and then that creates a stress response in your body. So the cortisol will be released from your body. You don't know that, but cortisol is one of the adrenal hormones that'll get released, and that breaks down into cortisone, which anesthetizes the body, not only physically, but it anesthetizes the brain. So the brain starts to feel better emotionally. So you get an emotional tie to the foods that are damaging you. And it's just like a drug addict. They're taking something in that's not good for them, but it makes them feel good in the moment. And when we do that, we create an association with, if I feel like this, I'm going to do that. And you're perpetuating your problem. So a lot of times we do those tests, and somebody might come in and they may have a physical manifestation, skin irritation, digestive issues, brain stuff. And they're also anxious, insomniac, they have bad relationships and everything else because the brain's not working. So we take care of their physical aspects, and all their emotional stuff tends to decrease, if not go away altogether. So it's a very important topic that people should, I think everybody should go over and find a food sensitivity test if they're looking at better health, better longevity, just better energy. One of the biggest things that I see, it's not pain, but people come in, they go, I'm just tired. And, by 3 o'clock, I'm just over and done. I can't think. I got brain fog. If I have one more thing, we're bombarded with, oh God, traffic and kids and laundry and reports and people. Oh God, people. Oh my God. And it just overwhelms us, and it creates the stress response.
Right.
And you're trying to put out the fire with gasoline. And then, of course, we get the freaking salespeople that are, 3 easy steps and take my diet and my pill and like that. And you don't know what the hell you're getting into.
No,
I know Dr. Mike, huge proponent on carnivore, keto diet and the like, because we're taking all the crap out. And if you look at our foods, the lectins are going crazy. We have fake foods, GMO foods. Our body really doesn't recognize these things.
Because we're real. Because we're real.
Yeah, because our physiology hasn't changed in millions of years, but the environment and the stuff that we're calling food is so far different. So it looks to us like grandma's broccoli, but it's not. It's sprayed with crap. Our stomach is different from eating that stuff. And they've just silently changed the stuff. And we don't get our food and look under a microscope and research everything. We go to the grocery store, we pick it up and we put it up. And the sad part is a lot of times it's under health food.
Yes.
Because
it's not healthy and it's not organic and it's all that. So to bring this home for the sake of time, Dr. Bill, what is your one, so we know it's food, it's emotional, whatever. What's the one step that you think people should do?
The one step to do is go to a functional medicine doctor and get a good panel of food sensitivities. And there's tests that come out. They'll test 150 different common foods. There's some that'll test, weird exotic foods as well. And go out and find out what's good for you, what's not good for you. And again, just because your cousin has the same test and you guys, we grew up in the same place, we must be the same. No, it's all very individualistic. So get tested. Get tested.
And I love, Bill, how you just tied in, and we'll come back around to you. Renee, I would love for you to follow up, because Bill talked about the emotional aspect, and you do so much with mental health work. I decided, since there's 4 of us, we'll just go boy, girl. That makes sense. So give us what you have, Miss Mental Health Expert. It's always so juicy.
All right. Today's topic is just really exciting in so many ways. Everything I look through, I follow nutrition on a weekly basis, and there has just been so much growth and expansion in that area that's just so relevant to every single facet of our lives. But as always, I always like to come at every topic that we cover and focus on mental health as well as addiction, because that's just the world I live in professionally. So I'm going to attempt to cover how food sensitivities or allergies can affect our mental health. And I first want to address how sugar can affect individuals that are in early recovery. In our center, we take note of any craving, and what we do is we include foods in our daily check-in process. And what we see consistently as far as people reporting cravings is across the board, we see sugar for any and all addictions that we treat. And in early recovery, what we see is we see people reach for sugar, energy drinks, dairy, and gluten. And what I did before this week is I went ahead and I personally polled our individuals for cravings, food. What are we looking at? So I could report that in. So these choices, they usually contribute to inflammation in the brain, and they perpetuate difficulty for those that are in early recovery. So I went ahead and I did a little bit of research on these particular cravings, and this is what I found. Dairy, gluten, and sugar can all contribute to gut biome problems for people with sensitivities or are trying to improve their mental health. So individuals that are in early recovery are especially vulnerable to many of these sensitivities, and anyone really that has a lower immune system for any reason is vulnerable to these sensitivities that I've just named. So dairy can be difficult to digest for some people, and it typically contains lactose, which is a sugar that can cause inflammation in the gut. Gluten is a protein, and it's found in wheat, barley, and rye. And some people have an autoimmune condition, and it's called celiac disease. And what this does is it causes damage to the small intestine when gluten is consumed. So sugar can also cause inflammation in the gut, and it can also feed harmful bacteria. Gut biome problems can lead to brain inflammation, and it's then that we're looking at, in some cases, poor mental health. So the gut and the brain are connected by a network of nerves, and it's called the gut-brain axis. And this network allows the gut to communicate with the brain and vice versa. So when the gut is inflamed, it can send signals to the brain that can lead to anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. So now this is what is exciting, because I think there's just been so much growth in every single direction as far as mental health in the last year. Really, we're just skyrocketing with our knowledge base. So there's new evidence that following a gut healthy diet can help improve mental health. So recently, we can find cookbooks that are designed to help people with mental health and even addiction issues. So here's some names of a few helpful cookbooks that are easy to find or to Google. And all you really need to do is in the search bar, go ahead and put up mental health and cookbook, something like that, and you'll find many titles of different things that are out there. But the ones that I found are called The Healthy Mind was one, and Eat to Beat Depression, Anxiety, and again, there's so much more. So what's really new in mental health is that therapists can now hold a nutrition certificate that allows them to assist you with a personalized nutrition plan. So with this, they can assist with improving various mental health conditions. And the one that I'm most familiar with is called a CIMHP. It's a Certified Integrative Mental Health Professional Certificate. So sometimes we can ask ourselves, is it the chicken or the egg? Does alcohol make you crave sugar, or does sugar make you crave alcohol? Yes, the sugar craving can lead to an alcohol craving. Both sugar and alcohol are addictive substances that can trigger the brain's reward system. And it really triggers the same, the circuitry is the same because it's a drug. And that's why food sensitivities, it's not so light, all that can happen and what can be triggered. And once we get into a domino effect of a little bit more, where we're looking at the same reward circuitry that for drug abuse, that's something to pay attention to. Absolutely. So when you eat sugary foods, your brain releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that is associated with pleasure. And this can lead to a cycle of craving and reward, which can make it difficult to resist eating sugary foods. Alcohol also releases dopamine in the brain. In addition, alcohol can interfere with the body's ability to metabolize sugar, which can lead to low blood sugar levels. Low blood sugar can also trigger cravings, which can make it more likely that you'll reach for something sugary or for alcohol. So
Beautiful.
I'm sorry.
So that's beautiful. So if you would give us one next step as we move on to Dr. Michael, what would it be, Renee?
I would say from my point of view, it would be, I love everything Dr. Bill just named, and I would add visiting a really good nutritionist. And if you're having any challenges in the area of mental health, absolutely explore a therapist that also has a certificate to be able to help you with the personalized diet. I mean, that's cutting edge. Handle it holistically.
Oh, and how beautiful that is. Handle it holistically. We're going to handle it with the brainwave guy next one. I've just got to throw in, I've always said wheat, milk, and soy make yeast, mold, and fungus. You just absolutely said it without a doubt. And that's the place. So hang around when we come at the end. Marissa, Renee, I could listen to you and Dr. Bill all day long, and including you, Dr. Michael. My goodness gracious. I know you've got something to say in your foundational health mind about this.
Well, thank you. It's hard to follow Dr. Bill, but but yeah, that's a lot of fun. I think because Dr. Bill talked about lab testing of antibodies to food, I'll talk about the other side, which is that those are absolutely true and important, and I use them and they're very necessary. There's a world of things that your body will react to that you can test for, which would be antibodies, where your immune system attacks food. And there's a world of things that you can't test for because we don't have a lab for them yet. They haven't been invented yet. And those are called lectins and food defensins and phytic acid and other types of molecules that are talked about. And those are plant foods that essentially they're the defenses of a plant to try to get animals to stop eating them. And so since plants don't have teeth and horns and hooves, they can't really resist us eating them. So they make these little proteins called lectins generally, and those things we don't have a lab test for. And if you think that's bad, they can cause mental health problems. They can act as mitogens, which means they can trigger reactions in your body with your hormones. They can trigger precancerous reactions. They can trigger acidity in your intestine, leaky gut syndrome, dysbiosis, as was mentioned earlier. And they also can lead to insulin resistance. They can lead to immune priming. They can cause mucus production and lack of absorption. And the problem on top of that is that it takes a long time for them to go away. They go into your body and they stick to your intestinal lining, and they don't let go until they decay. So they have to kind of just decay and fall apart. So if you give it time, they can go away, but it takes a number of weeks. The half-life of this protein is like 14 days. So
wow.
So you're gonna get rid of half of it in 14 days, and another half in another 14 days, another half in 14 days. So your stomach and your intestine may not be free of lectins after you do an elimination diet to get rid of the lectins that are in grains and beans and nuts and seeds that are otherwise healthy, and you won't know you're better for 3 months. So it's very difficult for people to stick to this and understand that it's not going to be a 2-week without gluten experience. It's going to be a 3 months without corn and gluten and hummus and beans and rice before you really know you're better, if that's your problem. And it's the only way to know it's your problem because there's no lab test for it.
Wow. No lab test. And the chat is blowing up, Michael. Exactly what I got like 6 comments while you were watching. I was like over here about proteins and nuts, and are they bad for you or whatever. You got a couple more minutes to just really address that bio. You're such a great proponent of that and whatever. I'd like to hear about just the lutein factor and the biome, your biome.
Sure. Well, it's really started for me in treating children with seizure disorders. We were doing ketogenic diets because they were proven to help kids with seizure disorders. And then we started getting kids with autoimmune diseases like MS and adults with autoimmune diseases. And then a guy came in with Crohn's disease like 25 years ago. And we found out that potato lectin was the cause of his Crohn's disease. And when he eliminated potatoes, his bleeding bowels got better. So we were able to understand that some people get autoimmune diseases from lectins. Some people get seizures from lectins. Some people get problems with their brain and their mental health from insulin resistance. So then we started discovering that people with insulin resistance would get a fatty tongue and a fatty liver, and we could only find it with an MRI. And so they would have the CPAP machine, and they'd be wearing the CPAP machine all night. And that's a great thing. You've got to do that, because if you don't do it, people die in their sleep of sleep disorders. So please don't give up your CPAP machine. But if you're not going after root causes, you'll never get better. And so sometimes people have to lose weight. They have to eliminate insulin resistance. They have to reduce their carbs. They have to look at their triglycerides. They have to get rid of that fatty tongue, that fatty liver, and get better. And then they can get rid of their CPAP machine in some cases, and their allergies and their seizures.
And because what you described right there is exactly what I believe. We on this panel are not half-listic doctors. We're holistic. Okay, we are so holistic. Boy, you just treated everything around the horn, and I'm so excited. Just hang around, because we'll have time this time around to go ahead and have comments. And I love when people photobomb. When people photobomb and you're having this like wedding picture and somebody's behind you or whatever. Well, we just had a photo TV show bomb with Dr. Glenn Depke coming back. What a surprise. Always welcome. I want to at least acknowledge you that, naturopathic Dr. Glenn Depke, Anaheim, California. He runs with the hippie doctor over there in California. But his expertise is in adrenal function, natural hormone balance, gut-brain connection, immune and chronic inflammation. I mean, the list goes on. So I'm just so happy that you've graced our stage, and we can have the next 7 minutes, Glenn, is yours to give us what you got about this wonderful topic.
All right. Well, thank you. I cherish the opportunity. And food sensitivity. Here's some nuggets that are huge. And number one, 86% of the people have a food sensitivity are asymptomatic. So it's not like you eat the food and you feel like crap afterwards. Those are the lucky 14% who, I ate cheese and I feel terrible. Well, guess what? You know not to eat cheese, right? And you don't eat dairy. But it's the other 86% of the people that I really feel bad for, because the reality is they're eating these foods. They don't have any known symptoms that they're feeling right now, but it's still driving a low-level inflammatory response. There's inflammatory receptors in every cell in the body. So eventually the body's now, chronically, systemically inflamed. And if you want to know what that causes, just go on your favorite browser and search, what does chronic inflammation cause? And you'll find it causes every chronic disease state known to man. It's a huge issue. And I've got a funny story with this that will really put it in place, because it was last fall. I was recognized that personally there was something that I was consuming was inflaming me. And I'm usually pretty good at figuring it out, and I wasn't able to figure this out. So I'm dealing with some of the same crap that most people are dealing with today.
Is that a medical word?
It is a total medical word.
It's a medical word. I love that.
And it's like the inner Dr. Bill and me coming out. And here's the thing, though, is so I did a test, and I always use Cyrex Labs, because they test both IgG and IgA. So you're getting the whole body immune response and also the gut immune response, which is usually missing from most tests that practitioners are doing. And I did the test, and I'm waiting for the results to come back. And I'm thinking, in the past, I used to be sensitive to dairy. And even though I overcame it, I was thinking, well, maybe that dairy sensitivity is back. So I put cream in my coffee every morning, and I'm thinking, well, let me at least remove the dairy, because it's a high likelihood. I'm going to replace it with something healthy. I'm going to use oat milk cream. And I did that, and I switched to oat milk cream while I'm waiting for my results to come back. And you know what? My results come back. I'm totally fine with dairy, and I'm sensitive to oats. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I did the healthy thing. And for me, though, it wasn't healthy at all. So the end of that story is to recognize that you might know what it is. You might not know what it is, and really defining it is really golden, because, when I have clients who, they have, maybe a couple of sensitivities, yet one of the things is they're saying, oh, well, I eat eggs at least 5 days a week. And then it comes back, that's what they're sensitive to. I was like, well, isn't that invaluable to know what you eat 5 days a week is driving inflammation and driving all these health issues that you're coming to me for? And on top of that, this is another key point, is that I also don't blame the foods. And yeah, because the underlying problem, what I have found in my clinic that's driving the food sensitivities is there's much deeper issues in the gut. People are consistently, whenever I see food sensitivity, almost 100% of the time, there's some deeper infection. There's something like, a detrimental bacterial infection, parasites, there's H. pylori, yeast, fungus, candida, which you talk about all the time. And these things are going on, and that's inhibiting the body's ability to break down protein properly. And when we don't break down the protein properly, and we have these, instead of single amino acids in the body, we have these amino acid chains, and those chains are what the immune antigens attach to. And even myself, way back in the day when I first started doing testing for this, I was off the chart sensitive to dairy, and I was even told by a really high level research scientist in this field that I would never get dairy back in my diet. And you know what? First off, I don't believe anybody who says never or always. And I did the same thing I did with my clients. I looked at my hormonal system. I worked on fixing that. I did the poop, the favorite poop test of everybody. And I found out what I had going on in my gut. I fixed it. I spent time aggressively, really going after the inflammatory response. And then, you know what? After a year being off the dairy, I added back in over a 30-day period, and I retested, and I was totally fine with dairy. And I still am to this day. So I want everybody to know you can heal this, but you have to figure it out, and you got to get to the bottom. And this is something you can overcome. And it's essential that you address it, because if you don't, it could be the missing piece of the puzzle that's driving all of your health issues.
Boy, you put the missing pieces all together, and it made me smile. I saw a couple of the others laughing too, because if I don't talk about pee or poop at every session, I'm not doing my job. Thank you, Dr. Glenn. You can pop in and you can photobomb our TV show anytime you want. It's just such a pleasure. Such a pleasure.
Always my pleasure. I'm sorry I've got to run, you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
We will. Thank you so much. And I told Dr. Glenn that, what I'm going to say as I kind of do, just winding this all up, aren't you just impressed? Or as my husband says, I'm compressed. We have compressed all of this information so well into talking about getting tested. We know about the poop test. We know that it takes time. We know that there is an addiction to sugar. We know that being on a ketogenic diet is important, because those lectins are not our friend. We know that. And I want to just wrap up this with the nutritional part and just talk about circadian rhythms. He said, Jody, what in the world does circadian rhythms have to do with food sensitivity? Everything. Because the last 4 years, I've been on a journey listening to my circadian rhythm, yin and yang. If you see any of my training, I speak a lot about this, that this is why this high noon time that we spend together is so great, because we're yang with yang. We are given the power. We're giving the best of the best, much better than a 3-martini lunch. But that's why it is. But if you think about our cycle, 21 days as our book, now the universe's book out there, 21 days, it's just not men or just women that have a cycle. It's men too. It's an energetic cycle. But then you break it down to 7 days. If you're a creationist, which I am, I believe that the world was created in 7 days. We don't know how long that was, but it was the first circadian rhythm. It was the first circadian rhythm. So if I listen to that, yesterday was the day that you don't want to have surgery. You know that it's hump day, and you know that there are more accidents on the road. I saw them coming back up to Orlando with my husband, 13 wrecks in 200 miles. It was crazy yesterday. It was Wednesday. And you never go ahead and get a car off the showroom lot that was built on Wednesday, because people are distracted. They're thinking about everything else. But circadian rhythms wise, I go ahead and I have my time of deep meditation, and then speaking about my practice, my vision, and what I'm doing for humanity in health on Wednesday. Then my circadian rhythm for my personal day, because there are more marriages. There are more people that celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday. And why are there marriages? Because it's a relational time. How about having a relationship with you? How about going in and meditating that afternoon and then just kicking back? Maybe it's you and you, as I talk about in our book, you're the only person that will never leave you. But if you are in a relationship, you have a husband, a wife, significant other, spend that time soulfully with them, because you will get in touch with your inner child. Why is that so important about food sensitivities? Because it says everything. It says everything because what did Glenn say? 6 months, totally new set, because you have new cells in your body every 6 months, but you have new blood supply every 90. So try, if you've never been conscious, competently meditate on Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday for your life's purpose and work, Saturday for you. Try it. DM me at Health Coach Jody on IG. DM me, send an email to Jody at Health Coach Jody. I want to hear from you, because it will make a difference. It is absolutely, it has calmed me down. This ADHD brain is not firing off quite as much ADD, just maybe HD, a little hyper, but not all the way. What I've seen is that it's helped me to be able to calm my soul down so that I can ask myself, is this food good for me? You know that we all on this panel believe in shopping around the perimeter of a store. Just go for mops and brooms and detergents in the middle. But is it good for me? You can go ahead and have kinesiology. I know that several of our board and our panel do that. But just do a simple tapping. You will know yourself. Holding this supplement. I found a supplement that my husband picked up for his eyes, to revitalize his eyes. I thought, this is crap. And he held the bottle. I said, is this good for Bob? And he dropped the bottle. I mean, honestly, and Bob is my husband. And he goes, okay, I'm not messing with you with this. But think about the rejuvenation. The last thing that I want to go to before our commercial break. And we want to honor Danya Zafar and our memorial school that we're building. So will be our next commercial break. But if you can stay in confidence, not just confidence tones, but out of frustration, because that's the degenerative part of disease. Stay in confidence. Then you go to peace, love, joy, passion, and ecstasy. That's where you want to be. When you are in that peace, stay in confidence. I'm confident that it's all going to get together. If you've got tons to do, I am confident that it's going to flow. Guess what will happen? Then your inflammation cycle is down. You won't be craving those emotional foods, and you'll be in the flow, so that you'll be able to have that frequency that you're living at, that frequency where you are living at such a high level that it's just always, people feel peace, love, joy from you. So that's what I've got to say about food sensitivity. But let's go ahead and look and see the beautiful, beautiful video that for our event Sunday on Traverse TV that we did, a Life of Excellence, that Dan Gilman put together for our beautiful Danya Zafar, who died unexpectedly in a hotel fire. And this is why we do what we do, don't we? Because you never know. Today is the only day we have. And Danya, whose work will live on in my book, that we were able to recreate even without a source file, 99.9% of everything she created, but just a tribute to the beautiful young life taken too soon of Danya Zafar. Take a look, take a listen. Our beloved Danya Zafar embodied beauty, genius, insightful design. Our cover and of Ignite's artistry will find all the details of graphic artistry in her intuitive vision. Her soulful insight is felt through her ingenious design. Danya is reflected in Elton John's Candle in the Wind and John Denver's profound lyrics, It's About Time. We are all in this together. May your artistry live on in all of us and in all of those who experience your visual masterpiece of your cover of this book. It is not the length of your life, but the life of your years. As artists and creatives, we will support guiding these children, and you will too, from afar, in her native hometown in Pakistan. Through the School of Hope, half of all proceeds of our book, The 21 Days to Your Best You, Keys for a Life of Excellence, will go to the Danya Zafar School of Hope. Rest in peace, Danya. You've left a legacy. And this is what we've got here. We've got Business Innovators Magazine. I've just got to hats off to Tom Chesser. He had such an integral part of doing this with these periodicals that just showed up with me on them. Who knew? Who knew that having a bevy of people around an extraordinary marketing piece? And most recently in Healthy Magazine, I guess that kind of fits that citrus, that California citrus, that Florida citrus, that we can have that orange look. And yes, our book was featured on ABC, NBC, Fox News, and actually the CBS affiliate is running the Don Joseph Memorial the entire week of this week through Memorial Day. So thank you, Tom Chesser, for doing this. Thank you, our Dr. Talk, our amazing just consortium of my tribe here. You know, the book launch was last week, but tonight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, it's live on all social media. All you've got to do is go to my website, drjod.com. Hey, I'm a 98 blue and a high I. I got to have a party. So we're going to come together. It's called a life of a party. Make your list. Come and be party listers. What is the list of your life of excellence? That's what we're going to do. Drop in just for a little time and be part of us. So just know that all of our proceeds right now, half of them go to Donya's school until we get it built. But right now, we're going to have one more round. I love this lightning round. This is a new thing. It's kind of fun now, isn't it? To go ahead and bring up, I will start with ladies first. Renee, what is your last and wisdom comment about food sensitivities?
You know, I'm going to just leave us with a light note. I just have to tell you, it was about 3 months ago, I thought I would get some gluten-free crackers. So I got these almond flour crackers and I couldn't stop eating them. And really, I just want to just leave everyone with, if you just feel like there are cravings of things that you have, you may have an allergy, and it's just something to take a look at. So I think I'll just leave on that note there.
Take a look, because you're listen to your body talk. That's so true, Renee. So Michael, Dr. Michael, what is your last lutein comment?
Well, I actually have good news for you, and it sounds like bad news, but it's actually good news. One of the ways that one of my secrets of helping people get over food allergies and food sensitivities is testing for toxins. I actually do urine and hair tests to look for chemicals in the environment, metals, toxins, and mold. And I find that when I find those things and get rid of them, people are a lot more free from things like tree allergies and food allergies and pollen allergies. It's amazing, and we shouldn't forget that. That's really my last little hopeful piece for you.
Toxins and testing, and I'm going to bring Mr. Test. Thank you, Bill, for always being a surprise a minute. My goodness gracious, thanks for bringing Dr. Glenn here in, and thank you for bringing this topic to us, Bill.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's always fun to get together and talk about this stuff because it's important. And because it's important, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is take it serious. You just heard Renee, Mike, and Glenn, myself, and you talk about the importance of food sensitivities. So not only if you're feeling problematic, you have something that you think is going wrong, but even if you feel great, there's no better reason to invest the time and energy in yourself into what you're going to be eating, because you're going to be eating for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So you might as well have a good grasp on how it's really affecting you. And like I said, Mike, go get your tests done. Check out for toxicities, your food sensitivities. And like Renee said, is go back over and see what kind of cravings do you have, and take it serious. It's not difficult. And once you have the information, you'll have the information, you'll know. And if there's something you don't like, just like Glenn did, you can take care of it. It's not a life sentence.
Because it's just not.
Go off and take it serious. Get with a good functional medicine doctor and somebody that knows nutrition deeply, and go on the little journey.
Beautiful, beautiful, because take it seriously. Know that it can be corrected, because you don't know what you don't know until you know. And exactly. That's what this is all about to me. You think about when I was talking about your circadian rhythms, going ahead and saying, okay, listen to your body. That's about listening to the patterns of your body. That, go ahead and test. You've got these toxicities in there. You know about these crivians. Listen to your body. Dr. Glenn, who had to leave because he really just did a TV show, a photobomb. That's what he did. Presentation bomb. I'll have to tell him that because I know your next door neighbors out there. But those toxins, and then go ahead and pee on that alkaline strip. That's my last tip, because you check your alkalinity in the morning, check it mid-afternoon, see what has happened, because alkalinity is healthy, optimal health. Acidity is where disease and degeneration lies. So what I want to just share with you at this very end, just remember, every Monday I'm here for Mindset Monday. It's going to be a special Memorial Day presentation with 3 people that are former servicemen and women that I do know. And it'll be a wonderful tribute to them and us. And remember, it's just not about the macaroni salad, and make it gluten-free, I would suggest, but it's about those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Then on Thursday, we will hear from spiritual coach. We're going to be doing the month of June and July, the authors that will be in our Healthopedia. I want you to get to know them. Dr. Nefertina Serrano is a spiritual genius, and she will be my guest. But just remember for today, come back next June 22nd. We'll be talking about, I guess, at 69 1/3. It's a very important topic for me. It's called longevity. So we'll be coming back here for longevity. Don't we all want that energy, which creates vitality, which transcends into longevity? I am living proof, but if I can do it, you can do it too. So mind your health as you're achieving that great wealth, that great vision that you want in your life. So at the end of your life, you can say, I kept everything intact. I took this knowledge that we've heard, and I have lived ultimately and stress-free to my ultimate and highest purpose. Because your successful macro life, your big life, boils down to what you do in those micro daily living choices. Les Brown says it is necessary. Only you can do what you can do. And so go about what you need to do, in this case, about your food allergies and sensitivities, as if your life depends on it, because you know what? It really does. So what I want to say at the very end, thank you, Dr. Bill, Dr. Glenn, Dr. Michael, and also CEO Renee Brown, who is juggling everything with graduation and being a mom, but she just always shows up. These doctors and these absolute practitioners, these experts show up every single month for you so that you can be the best that you can be. So just remember, let's have a healthy, kind of like playing in your sandbox kind of day. And this is Dr. J saying, ciao for now.